Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Extremely severe cyclone Taukte likely to cross Gujarat coast between Porbandar and Mahua tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls Gujarat Chief Minister to take stock of preparedness to deal with cyclone. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reviews armed forces efforts to tackle cyclone Taukte. First batch of DRDO's anti-COVID drug 2-deoxy-D-glucose released today. More than 18 crore 29 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Over 3,78,000 people recover from COVID-19 infection in the last 24 hours. National recovery rate improves to 84.81%. Around 2,81,386 new COVID cases reported in the last 24 hours. Production capacity of Remdesivir increased to nearly 1 crore 19 lakh vials per month, says government. In West Bengal, 4 leaders arrested in Narada case granted interim bail by CBI court. And lockdown restrictions ease in United Kingdom. All restaurants, bars, hotels, theatres and museums to reopen. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, take all precautions, and all those above 45 years who have taken the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to get vaccinated with the second dose at the scheduled time. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Gusty winds and heavy showers lashed Mumbai and its neighbouring areas today as the extremely severe cyclonic storm Taukte headed towards Gujarat. Senior Director of IMD Mumbai, Shubhangi Bhute, said that the cyclone is likely to make landfall in Gujarat tonight. According to the National Weather Forecasting Centre of the India Meteorological Department, IMD, Cyclone Taukte is very likely to cross between Porbandar and Mahua in Bhavnagar district tonight as a very severe cyclonic storm with a maximum sustained wind speed gusting up to 185 km per hour. Forecast regarding moderate to very heavy rainfall has been made for coastal areas in Maharashtra and Gujarat and central and south districts of Rajasthan. IMD has issued warnings regarding complete suspension of fishing operations over East Central Arabian Sea, Northeast Arabian Sea and along and off Gujarat, Daman Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli coast till tomorrow noon. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into East Central Arabian Sea along and off Maharashtra Goa coast and into Northeast Arabian Sea along and off Gujarat, Daman, Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli coast till tomorrow. Those who are out at sea over North Arabian Sea have been advised to return to the coast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani to take stock of preparedness to deal with cyclone Taukte. Chief Minister Rupani apprised Prime Minister Modi about the steps taken to minimize the impact of the cyclone. Prime Minister Modi also offered all possible help from the central government to Gujarat to deal with this situation. The centre has asked the Air Force, Navy and Army to be ready for help if a situation arises. More details from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani said that all the fishermen who went into the sea have been returned to the coast safely. Looking to the serious threat of the very severe cyclonic storm Taukte on Gujarat coast, more than 1,50,000 people have been shifted to the safer places till now. People in the coastal areas have been asked to remain inside their homes till the warning of cyclone ends. State-level control room was made functional at Gandhinagar from today. More than 600 teams of electricity boards have been kept ready to restore the power supply on a short notice. 1,400 COVID hospitals have been provided power backup with diesel generator sets. Additional 1,700 metric tons of oxygen kept reserved against a requirement of 1,000 metric tons. Health teams and ambulances with ICU facilities kept ready for any eventuality. Animal Husbandry Department is also coordinating with the district collectors for safe evacuation of cattle and animals. Yogesh Pandya, Air News, Ahmedabad.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray held a review meeting with the Chief Secretary Sitaram Kunte and other officials, including Mumbai's Municipal Commissioner. He has instructed authorities to ensure that COVID facilities remain functional and there is no hindrance in the treatment of COVID patients anywhere across the state. Maharashtra's Konkan, Sindhudurg and Raigad region have been battered by extreme rains and gusty winds due to the cyclonic storm, claiming at least 8 lives. 3 people from Mumbai are also reported to be missing. In Mumbai, airport operations have been suspended from 11 a.m. to 10 tonight. Local train services also faced disruptions, while traffic on roads was also moving slow. With waterlogging being reported at chronic spots of Dadar, Sion, Kurla, Andheri and Malad, best bus services had to be diverted on at least 16 routes. Andheri and Malad subway along with Bandra-Worli Sea Link remained shut throughout the day. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
A red alert has been issued for Mumbai, Thane, Palghar and Raigad districts, with the Indian Met Department forecasting heavy to very heavy rainfall accompanied with strong winds gusting to 100 to 110 km per hour and are likely to continue in the city and suburbs till tomorrow afternoon. Mumbai Suburban's Guardian Minister Aditya Thackeray said that wind speeds of 114 km per hour are the highest ever recorded for Mumbai. He said the government is in constant touch with the district authorities of Sindhudurg, Ratnagiri, Raigad, Thane, Mumbai and Palghar for all possible assistance. With instances of trees falling being reported from all across the city, Mr. Thackeray said the civic body is on its heel to clear the roads, but strong winds and heavy rains have made the task extremely difficult. While Mumbai civic authorities had vacated 3 jumbo COVID care centers as a precautionary measure, Mr. Thackeray said the 3 centers will now be taken up for maintenance and repairs over the next 10 days. Vaccination drives too remain suspended for the day. Meanwhile, the Western Naval Command and the Coast Guard too were roped in as 2 barges went adrift in Bombay High and a couple of small boats too sent SOS as the sea turned rough over the day. Nisha Rani, AIR News, Mumbai.
The Rajasthan government has issued an alert across the state in view of the possible impact of cyclonic storm Taukte in the state. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot said that all preparations have been made in the wake of the cyclone. He appealed to everyone to remain cautious. The Chief Minister said that disaster management teams have been deployed in the areas likely to be affected by the storm. More from our Jaipur correspondent.
The cyclonic storm Taukte is likely to weaken and enter the southwestern parts of the state tomorrow night. The Met Department has issued a red alert for heavy rains with strong winds of 50 to 60 km per hour in Dungarpur, Sirohi, Udaipur, Jalore and Pali districts. Apart from this, the impact of the cyclone will remain in most districts of the state for the next 3 days. Meanwhile, the administration has also made a comprehensive plan to provide uninterrupted supply of oxygen for COVID patients throughout the state and supply of electricity in case of emergency in all hospitals. Jitendra Trivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today held a meeting to review the preparedness and assistance being provided by the armed forces to civil authorities to tackle the situation arising out of Cyclone Taukte. Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, Defence Secretary Dr. Ajay Kumar, Chief of Naval Staff Admiral Karambir Singh, Chief of Air Staff Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadoria and Chief of Army Staff General M.M. Narvane with other senior officials attended the meeting. During the meeting, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was informed that 11 Indian Navy diving teams have been kept on standby in case of any request from authorities of affected states. 12 flood rescue teams and medical teams have been earmarked for immediate response and deployment. Repair and rescue teams have also been formed to undertake urgent infrastructural repairs post-cyclone if required. 3 ships, Talwar, Tarkash and Tabar, are on standby with aid and relief material for immediate assistance to affected areas. Navy's maritime reconnaissance aircraft and surveillance are continuously broadcasting cyclone warnings to fishermen. Mr. Singh was also informed that the assets of the Indian Navy were pressed into service to rescue stranded crew of Indian-flagged tug Coromandel Supporter 11 off the Karnataka coast. Another helicopter from the Naval Air Station in Goa has been deployed to assist in the search of missing crew members of the Indian-flagged tug Alliance. Mr. Singh was briefed that the Indian Air Force has deployed its aircraft to transport personnel and tons of load of the NDRF to Ahmedabad. The Defence Minister directed the three services to provide all possible assistance to the civil administration to deal with the emerging situation. The Army has launched columns to assist civil administration of Cyclone Tauktae hit areas. It has mobilized columns and an engineer task force or ETF to the western coast from various parts of the country. With the impending landfall of the extremely severe cyclonic storm forecasted in coastal areas of Gujarat, Army units and formations have prepared themselves with substantial teams. The Army units are ready with elements of communication and ETF to provide relief and all kind of assistance following COVID protocols. The GOC of the Army Division located at Ahmedabad attended a coordination meeting chaired by the Gujarat Chief Minister and has assured all support. Our correspondent reports the Army is also providing all possible assistance for creating power backup and making preparations for other contingencies at COVID hospitals in the affected region, including Dhanvantri COVID Hospital at Ahmedabad.
The first batch of the anti-COVID drug 2-deoxy-D-glucose 2-DG has been released for COVID patients today. It was released by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan. The drug has been developed by the Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO in collaboration with Dr. Reddy's lab. The drug was approved for emergency use by the Drugs Controller General of India DCGI recently. Congratulating scientists of the DRDO for this remarkable feat, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said, "This 2-DG drug is an important milestone in the journey towards Atmanirbharta."
ड्रग जिसका यह इजाद हुआ है, यह आशा और उम्मीद की एक नई किरण लेकर आया है। यानी हमारे देश के सामने यदि बड़ा से बड़ा चैलेंज आए तो हमारे वैज्ञानिकों के अंदर वह क्षमता है, वह ताकत है कि उसका मुकाबला वह कर सकते हैं। और जो यह ड्रग का इजाद किया गया है, मैं समझता हूं कि हमारे देश के वैज्ञानिकों की एक जो साइंटिफिक कैपेबिलिटी है, उसकी भी एक मिसाल है।
Mr. Singh added that it will reduce oxygen dependency by 40% in COVID patients. Talking about the central government's efforts in the fight against the pandemic, Mr. Singh said all the problems have been sorted out under the direction of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said there is no shortage of essential medical equipment, oxygen, beds and medicines. Appreciating the efforts of the scientists of DRDO and Dr. Reddy's lab for the development of this anti-COVID drug, Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said, "This is the result of 1 year of hard work by the scientists."
एक साल से ज्यादा लंबी जंग में जहां भारत की तरफ से वैज्ञानिकों के माध्यम से वैक्सीन को डेवलप भी किया गया, वैक्सीन को देश के लिए उपलब्ध भी कराया गया, लेकिन शायद भारत के वैज्ञानिकों के द्वारा DRDO के सहयोग से हमारे आदरणीय राजनाथ सिंह जी के नेतृत्व में ये शायद हमारी पहली इंडिजिनस रिसर्च के आउटकम के तहत दवा है जो सीधे सीधे कोविड के वायरस के प्रकोप को पूरे वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण से कम करने का पूरा पोटेंशियल रखती है।
Dr. Harshvardhan said this medicine has huge potential in preventing the growth of coronavirus. He said the government is continuously ramping up the health infrastructure in the country.
Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said that the country is witnessing a declining trend in the number of fresh COVID-19 cases. He said after the gap of 26 days, less than 3 lakh new cases have been reported in the country within 24 hours. He was speaking at the 26th Group of Ministers meeting today.
Today we have 35,16,997 active cases in the country. And for the first time after almost 26 days, we have seen cases less than 3 lakhs.
On the vaccination drive in the country, Dr. Harshvardhan said over 18.29 crore beneficiaries have been administered the COVID vaccine doses in the country so far. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Extremely severe cyclone Tauktae likely to cross Gujarat coast between Port Bandar and Mahua tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls Gujarat Chief Minister to take stock of preparedness to deal with the cyclone. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reviews armed forces' efforts to tackle cyclone Tauktae. First batch of DRDO's anti-COVID drug 2-deoxy-D-glucose released today. More than 18 crore 29 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Over 378,000 people recover from COVID-19 infection in last 24 hours. National recovery rate improves to 84.81%. Around 281,386 new COVID cases reported in last 24 hours. Production capacity of Remdesivir increased to nearly 1.19 crore vials per month, says government. In West Bengal, 4 leaders arrested in Narda case granted interim bail by CBI court. And lockdown restrictions ease in the UK. All restaurants, bar, hotels, theatres and museums to reopen. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the evening news. India has administered more than 18 crore 29 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. Out of the total, nearly 14 crore 11 lakh people have been given the first jab of the vaccine, whereas over 4 crore 17 lakh beneficiaries have been fully vaccinated with both the required doses. The Health Ministry said that more than 6,91,000 doses of COVID vaccines were administered in the last 24 hours. The liberalized and accelerated Phase 3 strategy of COVID-19 vaccination has come into force from the 1st of this month, under which people in the age group of 18 to 44 years are also being vaccinated. The cumulative share of active COVID cases in the country has declined to comprise nearly 14.09% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has informed that currently over 35,16,000 people are reported to be suffering from the viral infection and are either hospitalized or are under home isolation. In the last 24 hours, the nation registered 281,386 new COVID cases. With this, the recovery rate has further improved to stand at 84.81%. Since yesterday, over 378,000 people have either been discharged from hospitals or are reported to have been completely cured. So far, over 2 crore 11 lakh people have recovered from the COVID-19 infection in the country. 10 states, including Maharashtra, Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Kerala, and the Union Territory of Delhi, continue to be the major hotspots of the viral pandemic. Nearly 75% of the new cases are reported from these 10 states and UT. The Health Ministry has informed that 4,106 COVID-related deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative toll to 2,74,390. A total of 4,524 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported in the national capital in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 13,98,000. The Delhi government has said that over 13,20,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, more than 10,000 people recovered and 340 deaths were reported in the city. The death toll so far in the national capital has reached 21,846. Presently, the total number of active cases of COVID-19 in the national capital is 56,049.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today interacted with a group of doctors from across the country and discussed the COVID-related situation through video conferencing. He thanked the entire medical fraternity and the paramedical staff for the exemplary fight displayed by them against the extraordinary circumstances of the second wave of COVID, adding that the entire country is indebted to them. He noted that be it testing, supply of medicines or setup of new infrastructure in record time, all these are being done at a fast pace. The Prime Minister stressed that the strategy of starting vaccination program with frontline warriors has paid rich dividends in the second wave. About 90% of the health professionals in the country have already taken the first dose. Vaccines have ensured safety of most of the doctors. The Prime Minister has urged doctors to include oxygen audit in their daily efforts. Noting that a large number of patients are undergoing treatment in home isolation, he requested the doctors to ensure that the home-based care of every patient is SOP-driven. He said that telemedicine has played a big role for patients in home isolation, and this service needs to be expanded in rural areas as well. The Prime Minister also discussed the challenge of mucormycosis and said that doctors may need to put in extra effort towards taking active steps and spreading awareness about it. During the interaction, the doctors thanked the Prime Minister for his guidance and leadership during the recent surge of cases. They also thanked the Prime Minister for prioritizing the healthcare workers for vaccination. They informed the Prime Minister about their preparedness since the first wave of COVID and the challenges they faced in the second wave. The Prime Minister will interact with field officials from states and districts tomorrow to converse about their experience in handling the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of these districts have seen a high surge in cases and widespread infection. Through their interaction with the Prime Minister, the officials will share some best practices in addition to suggestions and recommendations for continuing country's ongoing battle against COVID-19, especially in semi-urban and rural areas. Officials from Karnataka, Bihar, Assam, Chandigarh, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, MP, Goa, Himachal Pradesh and Delhi will take part in the meeting.
To address the problems faced by elderly persons in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, the centre has started a toll-free helpline for them. The toll-free number is 14567. Presently, the facility is operational in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. In Telangana, this facility has been operational for more than a year. Efforts are underway to make the call centres functional in all states by the end of this month. All elders are advised to use this facility. This helpline for senior citizens called Elder Line has been operationalized with the assistance of Tata Trust and NSC Foundation. In Himachal Pradesh, ASHA workers are playing a significant role in ensuring coordination with State Health Department and COVID-19 patients in home isolation. Our correspondent reports that about 90% of the total COVID-19 patients in the state are in home isolation. More from our Shimla correspondent.
ASHA workers in Himachal are the most important grassroots workers of the health department to maintain proper contact with the masses, as nearly 90% of total COVID-19 patients in the state are in home isolation. As such, ASHA workers are playing a significant role by acting as an interface between COVID patients and the Department of Health. ASHA workers have been asked to monitor the health standard of COVID patients regularly, and if a patient needs to be hospitalized, they will have to shift them in hospitals immediately. Chief Minister Jairam Thakur has also praised the work being done by ASHA workers in the current COVID-19 crisis. He said he interacted with more than 200 COVID-19 patients in home isolation, and everyone has appreciated the work done by ASHA workers. Sanjeev Sundaryal, AIR News, Shimla.
In Madhya Pradesh, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan apprised Prime Minister Narendra Modi of the current COVID situation in the state in a telephonic discussion today. He informed the Prime Minister that the situation in the state is now under control and positive cases are significantly declining. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan expressed his gratitude to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the support of the central government for adequate supply of oxygen and remdesivir injection in the state. Chief Minister informed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured that the centre will provide all possible assistance to Madhya Pradesh to tackle corona pandemic and treatment of black fungus disease. The state government is making free arrangements for treatment of black fungal disease. For its treatment in the state, 2,000 amphotericin injections are being airlifted from Gujarat. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The country is battling the pandemic for 2 years now. In the time of difficulty, several Samaritans came forward to help the people. One such example is the India Cares Group. It is a group of 3,000 self-motivated individuals who came together to help people. Interestingly, the volunteers of the group have never met in person and operate virtually. Talking to All India Radio News, Pulkit Goyal, a volunteer of the group who is an entrepreneur by profession, said, in the first wave of the pandemic, the group helped people with essentials like medicines, rations, etc. He added that in the second wave, they have helped people with arranging medicines, plasma, or getting hospital beds. More details in this report.
The group, which was started on 16th April last year, operates on Twitter majorly. Talking to All India Radio News, Pulkit listed out the help which the group is providing in the second wave.
Second phase, we are more like nature of requests has changed because of various reasons. So in this one, we are helping people with mostly with first one is a doctor consultation. We have a team of doctors who consult for free to people who want to like consult. I myself used a doctor consultation when I got sick.
Pulkit also informed that people who are not in social media and are seeking help can call the group on number 078-150-74726. He urged people to help their domestic helpers in whatever way they can.
आपके घर पे काम वाली होती है, उसकी हेल्प कर दो. उसके पास थर्मामीटर, ऑक्सीमीटर कुछ नहीं होता है, तो मेडिसिन भी नहीं होती है. एंड व्हेन यू लुक इनटू द होल स्केल कि वो ऐसे 1000 काम वाली एक बस्ती में वहाँ रह रही होती है, उनसे किसी के पास थर्मामीटर नहीं होता है. तो आप छोटी भी हेल्प करोगे ना, जो आपको लगता है आपकी जिंदगी में जिन चीजों का आप ग्रांटेड लेते हो वो सामने वाले की जिंदगी में ग्रांटेड नहीं होती है.
He added that in rural areas, the India Cares group, instead of helping individuals, helps a group of people in a certain area. Diksha Saxena, AIR News, Delhi.
In West Bengal, 4 leaders arrested in the Narda case have been granted interim bail by the CBI court. Officers of the Central Bureau of Investigation had taken Minister Subrata Mukherjee, Firhad Hakim, MLA Madan Mitra and former Mayor of Kolkata, Shobhan Chatterjee, into the agency's headquarters in Kolkata this morning and arrested them. Charge sheet filed against them was placed before the CBI court today during the virtual meeting. The judge rejected the agency's plea and granted bail to the accused. All restaurants, bars, hotels, theatres and museums in England will reopen as lockdown restrictions have been eased in the country. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has urged citizens to be cautious and take responsibility when enjoying new freedoms as the government eased COVID-19 lockdown measures across the country. He said people must continue to play their part in stopping coronavirus. Mr. Johnson also said, though the rules are slightly different in the United Kingdom's 4 constituent parts, restrictions are being eased in England, Scotland and Wales from today, while they'll be eased slightly later in Northern Ireland. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 24 and 33 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 and the maximum is expected to be around 31 degrees. Chennai is expected to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The temperature will vary between 29 and 39 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The city will observe a minimum temperature of 29 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 39 degrees. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Gilgit will have a partly cloudy sky as well. The temperature will hover between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is also likely to have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be 16 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Dehradun will witness thunderstorm with hail. The minimum temperature will be 25 and the maximum will be around 33 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Extremely severe cyclone Taukte likely to cross Gujarat coast between Porbandar and Mahua tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls Gujarat Chief Minister to take stock of preparedness to deal with cyclone. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reviews Armed Forces efforts to tackle cyclone Taukte. First batch of DRDO's anti-COVID drug 2-deoxy-D-glucose released today. More than 18.29 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Over 3,78,000 people recover from COVID-19 infection in the last 24 hours. National recovery rate improves to 84.81%. Around 2,81,386 new COVID cases reported in the last 24 hours. Production capacity of Remdesivir increased to nearly 1.19 lakh vials per month, says government. In West Bengal, 4 leaders arrested in Narada case granted interim bail by CBI court. And lockdown restrictions ease in United Kingdom, all restaurants, bars, hotels, theatres and museums to reopen. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.